Women's equal pay. To fix the pay gap, fix the childcare issue. Fed officials agree the lack of affordable, reliable childcare often leaves women stuck in lower-paying jobs. Women's participation rate in the labor force hit an all-time high this spring, but the pay gap between women and men still remains, even as wages overall grow at a strong clip. This is a time of a tight labor market that you would hope to see some gaps closing, Esther George, former Kansas City Federal Reserve president, told Yahoo Finance in an interview at the Kansas City Federal Reserve's annual economic symposium in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. But this is an important issue and there's no silver bullet on how to address it other than keep it in front of the public's attention. The gap in men and women's wages has been long-standing. In 2021, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, women who hold full-time jobs earn, on average, 83 cents on the dollar compared with men. Boston Federal Reserve President Susan Collins says there was a period where the pay gap was closing, but that momentum seems to have stalled out. Collins, who looks closely at wages in aggregate, says recently both men and women's wages have been increasing, and women's wages have been increasing commensurate with men's. But that won't close the gap. We would need a faster increase, Collins said. For the gender gap to reach full parity, according to research from Bank of America, it will take another 132 years at the current rate of progress. Collins says lack of affordable, available quality childcare is a huge issue that's contributing to the pay gap for women. It's something that we have quite a bit of research on, and have looked at over time. It's one of the things that is an impediment, particularly for mothers, and for parents more generally, says Collins. Addressing that over time, which is going to take many across the economy working together, could help in adjusting that gap. But I think there are a variety of different factors and it is a long-standing gap between male and female wages, even when you adjust for differences in education and across occupations. Lack of reliable, affordable childcare is handicapping women who might otherwise look to attain higher-paying jobs. These women often end up taking lower-paying jobs that offer more flexibility and allow them to more easily manage childcare responsibilities, according to research from the Boston Federal Reserve. These jobs are usually in specific sectors that don't typically provide a lot of pay raises. For example, women make up 75% of the healthcare and education sectors, which have seen some of the lowest nominal wage increases, according to Bank of America. Joe Sheen, president and CEO of RP Abrasives in Rochester, says a lack of reliable childcare is really hurting families and employees, as childcare centers sometimes cancel care arrangements at the last minute or shut down on short notice. Childcare became scarce during the pandemic, putting new focus on those providing it. It gave new attention to the notoriously low compensation childcare workers typically receive, often with no benefits, for work valued now more than ever, according to the Boston Fed. Jared Bernstein, chair of President Biden's Council of Economic Advisers, told Yahoo Finance in an interview at the same conference in Jackson Hole that the White House plans to push Congress to invest in childcare support in a bigger way, with a pandemic-era safety net due to expire in September. We know that countries that invest more in this have higher female labor force participation rates, said Bernstein. We're really pushing Congress to really make the investments again. Nearly $38 billion in child care pandemic stabilization funding and programs passed in 2021 sunsets at the end of September. As many as 70,000 child care centers are expected to be affected. The White House put forth a $49 billion supplemental request for the budget next year, for items like extra funding for the war in Ukraine, but did not include a request for further funding on child care. It did, however, mention that it's important Congress take action separately on child care. I don't think the supplemental is necessarily the path there, Bernstein said. I think we need to implement legislative solutions and there's no reason why Congress shouldn't support this. Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester told Yahoo Finance back in April that while the expense of childcare creates incentives for women not to work, offering tax breaks to married people versus singles and the way Social Security benefits are designed are factors that also contribute to the pay gap. Women have to continue to do what they have been doing, said George. They have made progress, they're getting more visibility. I think that companies are beginning to see the opportunities, ways to include women. We've done that at Jackson Hole in terms of bringing more visibility.